The calcium paradox. Why your brain is starving. What if the #1 supplement recommended for strong bones was unquite doing the job you thought it was? You take your calcium supplement, you drink your fortified milk, you redoing everything you have been told to build strong bones and dodge the fractures that can threaten our independence later in life. But what if all that calcium flooding your body was missing its target, and instead was getting rerouted to the one place you absolutely don't want it, your brain? This isn't some fringe theory. It's a well-documented biological trap called the calcium paradox. It explains the shocking reality of how your bones can be left starving for calcium, while your arteries, organs, and the delicate pathways of your brain are slowly, silently hardening. In the next few minutes, we're going to unpack exactly how this dangerous paradox works. More importantly, you'll discover the one often overlooked nutrient that acts as calcium's GPS, making sure every bit you consume gets to the right address. Getting this right isn't just a good idea. It could be the most important step you take for your long-term cognitive health. The problem: the great calcium misunderstanding. For decades, the story we've heard is simple. Bones are made of calcium, so to keep them strong, eat more calcium. It makes perfect sense. Public health campaigns are built on it. Grocery stores are packed with calcium-fortified everything. The supplement industry has turned calcium into the rockstar nutrient for healthy aging. And that story isn't wrong. It's just incomplete. Your bones are absolutely a living bank account for calcium. It's what gives them their hardness. Your body also needs it for nerves to fire, muscles to contract, and blood to clot. In fact, your body is obsessed with keeping the calcium level in your blood within a razor-thin range. If it drops, your body will literally rob your bones to balance the books. So, we take more calcium, thinking we're topping off that bank account. But here's where the paradox kicks in, the part of the story most of us never get. Getting calcium into your body is just step one. Once it hits your bloodstream, especially in the big, fast-acting dose from a typical supplement, your body has a major problem to solve. What do we do with all of this right now? Imagine a fleet of trucks shows up at a massive construction site and dumps thousands of pallets of expensive Italian marble right at the front gate. But there's a problem, a huge one. There's no foreman, no project manager, no blueprints to tell the crew where the marble is supposed to go. What happens? Pure chaos. The marble doesn't get to the building's foundation, which is desperate for it. Instead, it just piles up. It blocks the roads. It clogs up the pathways, stopping food, water, and other key supplies from getting to the workers. The whole site grinds to a halt, choked by the very material meant to build it up. This is the calcium paradox in your body. That calcium supplement is the mountain of marble. Your bones are the foundation waiting. But without a foreman, director that, calcium doesn't make it to your skeleton. Instead, it gets dropped off in your soft tissue. It starts to line the walls of your blood vessels, turning them from flexible hoses into stiff pipes. It can form stones in your kidneys. And, most frighteningly, it can start to calcify the delicate vascular system that feeds your brain. So while you're taking calcium to save your bones, you could be unintentionally paving your arteries and starving your brain. This isn't about having too much calcium. It's about having it in all the wrong places. The result is a body that is somehow both calcified and demineralized weak bones, hard arteries. This is the great calcium misunderstanding. The agitation of brain under siege, the consequences of misplaced calcium aren't minor. This is a big deal. When this process targets the brain, it wages a two-front war. It strangles the brain's supply lines and can help trigger the final, fatal command inside brain cells themselves. Part 1. Starving the brain of blood and oxygen. Your brain is an energy hog. It's only 2% of your body weight, but devours 20% of your oxygen and calories. To feed this habit, it relies on an incredibly dense network of blood vessels. The health of your brain is completely dependent on keeping these vessels soft, flexible, and open. Misplaced calcium is a direct assault on this system. It contributes to arterial calcification, the literal hardening of your arteries. This isn't the same as fatty plaque, but it often happens right alongside it. Calcium phosphate crystals. The same stuff that belongs in your bones get deposited in the soft tissue of your blood vessels, turning them rigid. When this happens, It reduces blood flow and stiffens the vessels, which can damage the fragile, smaller arteries deep within the brain. These are the areas that handle your processing speed, executive function, and memory. Now, for years, people have worried, do calcium supplements cause cognitive decline? The science was confusing, with studies pointing in different directions. But the picture's finally getting clearer. And for most people, the news is good. A major study from Edith Cowan University, published in 2025, provided some fantastic reassurance. It followed nearly 1,500 older women for almost 15 years and found that, for the general population, calcium supplements did not increase the risk of dementia. This was a huge relief. However, this is where the story gets more nuanced. There's a critical, dangerous footnote for a very specific group. A 2016 study in the journal Neurology uncovered a slice of the population that is uniquely vulnerable. Researchers found that for women who already had cerebrovascular disease, meaning circulatory problems in the brain, like from a past stroke taking, calcium supplements was linked to a dramatically higher risk of developing dementia. In fact, women with a history of stroke who took the supplements had a nearly 7 times higher risk of dementia compared to women with a stroke history who didn't. Let that sink in. For those with already compromised blood vessels in the brain, a surge of undirected calcium could be like throwing gasoline on a fire, potentially accelerating the very disease that leads to vascular dementia. Part 2. The calcium flood the neurons self-destruct button. The danger doesn't stop at the blood vessels. Let's zoom in, past the arteries, and go inside a single brain cell. In a healthy neuron, calcium is a powerful signaling molecule. Tiny, controlled bursts of it are what allow you to think, feel, and remember. To make this work, the cell keeps the calcium level inside 10,000 times lower than outside. It's a delicate balance, but while a tiny spark of calcium is life, an uncontrolled flood of it is a universal signal for death. Scientists call this when a neuron is under extreme stress, say, from a lack of oxygen due to a blocked artery, its defenses weaken. The calcium gates can get stuck open. A tsunami of calcium floods the cell. This overload kicks off a horrifying chain reaction. It activates cellular demolition enzymes that start chewing up the cell's insides. It causes the cell's power plants, the mitochondria, it's the final pathway for cell death in many neurological conditions. To be clear, taking one calcium pill doesn't directly cause this. The link is more systemic. The problem is a state of chronic calcium dysregulation, where the body just can't manage calcium properly. This is where the calcium paradox comes in. By letting calcium pile up in the bloodstream and soft tissue, we contribute to the vascular damage that puts neurons under stress in the first place, making them more vulnerable to this final, fatal flood. The solution, the bodyguard, and the builder. So, what do? We have a mineral that's essential for life, but becomes a potential threat when it's lost and undirected. How do we solve the paradox? The answer isn't to get rid of calcium. It's to hire a manager. And your body already has one. We just need to make sure it shows up for work. That manager is vitamin K2. If calcium is the pile of marble, vitamin K2 is the master foreman. It's the traffic cop of calcium metabolism. It's the GPS that tells calcium exactly where to go. And just as importantly, where not to go. It does this by activating 2 key proteins. Protein 1, the bodyguard matrix GLA protein MG. Think of MGP as the security guard for your entire cardiovascular system. Its only job is to patrol your arteries, organs, and other soft tissues to stop calcium from setting up camp. It is one of the most powerful inhibitors of calcification known to science. But here's the catch. MGP is born asleep on the job. Protein 2, the builder. Once MGP has stopped calcium from going to the wrong places, we need to get it to the right one. Your bones. That's the job of a protein called osteocalcin, is the master builder of your skeleton. Its job is to grab calcium from the blood and literally bind it into your bone matrix. It's the protein that puts the cal in calcification where it belongs. But, just like MGP, osteocalcin is also born inactive. And guess what activates it? Vitamin K2. Without K2, osteocalcin can't grab onto calcium. The calcium is left floating in the bloodstream and your bones get starved. with plenty of K to osteocalcin switches on, acting like a magnet that pulls calcium out of the blood and locks it into your skeleton. This isn't just theory. The famous Rotterdam study, which followed nearly 5,000 older adults for a decade, gave us a huge clue. The researchers observed that the participants with the highest intake of vitamin K2 were 50% less likely to develop severe arterial calcification. Even more stunning, they had a 57% lower risk of dying from heart disease. Now, as an observational study, it doesn't prove cause and effect, but a link that strong is impossible to ignore. Crucially, the study found that vitamin K, one found in leafy greens and mainly used for blood clotting, didn't have this same powerful effect on the arteries. This showed that K2 has a specialized role as the body's calcium traffic cop. And what's good for the arteries of the heart is good for the arteries of the brain. The action plan: reclaiming your brain health, okay? Knowledge is power, but action is what changes your future. The goal isn't to be afraid of calcium, it's to be smart about it. Here's your 4-step plan to get it right. Step 1. Get your calcium from the source before you reach for a pill. Focus on your diet. Calcium in food is absorbed more slowly and comes packaged with other important minerals. A high-dose pill is like a flash flood. Food is like a steady rain the ground can actually soak up. Best sources: canned, sardines and salmon with the bones, full-fat yogurt and kefir, and hard cheeses like Gouda are fantastic. Plant-based power: kale, collard greens, bok choy, tofu made with calcium sulfate, and tahini are also loaded with calcium. Aim for 1,000 to 1,200 milligrams per day, mostly from these food sources. Step 2. Unleash the traffic cop. Find your K2. This is the game changer. Our modern, low-fat diet has made K2 hard to find, so you have to look for it. The undisputed K to King, natto, a fermented soybean dish. It's an acquired taste, but it's the most potent source of K2 on the planet, with some preparations boasting over 1,000 mcg per serving. More palatable powerhouses. Certain cheeses, Gouda and Brie, are winners. Egg yolks, especially from pasture-raised chickens, and grass-fed butter are all great sources. Dark meat poultry also contains more K2 than lean breast meat. Step 3. Build the power trio with smart supplementation. If you do supplement, the key is synergy. Think of it as a trio that must work together. Vitamin D3, vitamin K2, and calcium. Vitamin D3, the gatekeeper, lets calcium into your bloodstream from your gut. Vitamin K2, the traffic cop, tells that calcium where to go. Calcium the bricks, the raw material for your bones. It is absolutely essential that you talk to your doctor about this. A common strategy many integrative practitioners discuss with their patients is supplementing with vitamin D3 and vitamin K. Too often, 100 to 200 mcg of the MK7 form, while only adding a small amount of supplemental calcium, maybe 500 milligrams if diet isn't enough. This ensures the gatekeeper and the traffic cop are on duty before the bricks arrive. Step 4. Don't forget the supporting cast magnesium. If D3 and K2 are the stars, magnesium is the indispensable stage manager. It helps activate vitamin D and acts as a natural calcium blocker, helping prevent that dangerous flood of calcium into your cells. Find it in leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and dark chocolate. By using this strategy, you're re-establishing your body's natural wisdom, ensuring that calcium builds a stronger body and a more resilient brain. We started with a paradox. The idea that a mineral we need for strength could be a problem. But, as we've seen, the calcium was never the villain. The problem was that it was lost, unsupervised, and without directions. The solution isn't to fear calcium, it's to manage it. It's about moving from a simplistic take, more mindset, to an intelligent, holistic understanding of how your body actually works. By getting calcium from food, bringing in vitamin K2, and making sure vitamin D and magnesium are on the team, you turn calcium from a potential problem into a powerful solution. You're no longer just dumping bricks at the construction site. You've hired the foreman. You are ensuring this essential mineral fulfills its destiny, building strong bones while protecting the arteries that nourish your heart, and most importantly, your brain for a long, healthy life. Have you ever been confused by conflicting advice on supplements? Share your experience in the comments below. Let's sort through it together. And now that you know how to protect your brain's infrastructure, it's time to learn what to send down those clean, open pathways. Our next video reveals the top 5 nutrients that directly power your brain's memory centers. Make sure you subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss it.